What's up, Heat fans? I'm Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. On today's show is a big move coming for the Miami Heat. After a very rough 23-24 season, the Heat are looking to make some changes potentially. We'll talk all about it and what stemmed these rumors. But first, make sure you are following me over on Twitter because I'm trying to up my Twitter game, and you guys want more coverage on the Heat? My Twitter's the perfect spot for that. My handle is at Nic_Rohloff. You'd get daily Heat coverage, news, memes, and I'm so close to 1,000 followers. And when we hit 1,000, my boss has said I get a raise, and if you're a real one who has been with the channel for a while, I'd like to get that raise, and we're only 67 away. So follow me, help you. It's a win-win for everybody. So follow me over at Twitter. All right, but these rumors started because Austin Rivers hopped on the Pat McAfee show, was asked about the Miami Heat, and said this: they're definitely going after somebody. There's no way you go back to next season thinking the team they had this season is enough. I agree, but he wasn't the only one to share the same sentiment. How about familiar friend Udonis Haslem saying, if I know anything about Riles, his job is to put this team into the best position possible to win a championship. We don't have that right now. That is now two talking heads in the NBA analyst circle mentioning Miami making massive changes to this roster for the upcoming season. And the intriguing thing about Udonis Haslem is, well, I want to remind you folks, he works for the Miami Heat. Like, he is not just some former player that's gone media like many others and is talking about Miami. No, he works for the organization. He is currently employed. So for the fact and the unbelievable nature of a employee going on First Take in ESPN, asked about the Heat, and then saying that he expects the GM to make massive changes to the roster and make moves to upgrade this team, kind of stuns me. And it's not the first time Haslem has done something like this, because he also said on ESPN that he doesn't think Tyler Herro's a starter, which Pat Riley called him out for that. So maybe Udonis Haslem just needs to stop talking to the media, but I did find it intriguing that he had to say that. And the question is, though, will the Heat make a big move? We've asked the Heat to do it for the past 3 off seasons, and they failed to do so. The biggest addition has been Terry Rozier this trade deadline, but that didn't really help us in the postseason. Now, the biggest move before that, signing Kyle Lowry. So type Y for yes or type N for no. I do think it's important, though, when I ask that question, and maybe you could go back and answer it after listening to my explanation, but what is considered a big move for the Miami Heat? Well, I have 3 things that can be considered a big move this offseason. I think the number one thing would be moving on from Jimmy Butler. I mean, they do that. That would be a stone-cold stunner, and I wouldn't know what to do with myself and this Heat roster going into the season. I don't expect that to happen, though, and I'll explain why later on in the show. Number 2 would be trading Tyler Herro. One that I do expect to happen, and I'll explain why later in the episode as well, so make sure you stick around. But I would consider that a massive change this offseason. Number 3 would be trading for a star, and you see the headshot. Everybody's talking about it. It's the number 1 guy on everybody's, I think, wish list if you're a Heat fan, especially mine, and that's trading for Donovan Mitchell. Now, we'll talk about potential other moves as well later in this video, but I think Donovan Mitchell would be the guy I would consider the biggest move for the Miami Heat. And coming up in just a second, I want to tell you the most likely outcome for Miami and revisit what the big move could possibly be. But we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the number 1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. And get started with them today by using code CLNS when you download the app or visit prizepicks.com/CLNS to get that first deposit match up to $100. The NBA postseason and NHL postseason continues to roll on, but there's also daily specials that you can get a part of to get some winnings. For example, Caitlin Clark is making her WNBA debut on May 14th, and PrizePicks is giving you 99% off, more than half a point for the main lady out of Iowa. I'm excited to watch her WNBA debut heading against the Connecticut, I believe, Suns. So take the more than there on half a point and cash in. Just pair that up with one entry. You could do it with another 3 stat totals. You can win as much money as you want. But get started with PrizePicks today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. It's my favorite app to use, regardless. Twitter, it doesn't matter. I'm on PrizePicks the most. So get started today with code CLNS at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. You just pick more, you pick less. That simple, that easy. All right, I do want to revisit the big moves that could be coming because number one on the list was trading Jimmy Butler. That's not happening. I'm telling you right now, Jimmy Butler is not being traded. And I'd argue if Jimmy requested a trade, Pat Riley would just look him dead in his eyes and say, sucks. You're not getting traded. I don't think they're going to do it. And why would they? And Jimmy Butler kind of cemented this in my own mind. He was asked about Miami and what the conversations have been with Pat Riley and Pat Riley's comments at his end of the year press conference, as he did tell Jimmy to shut up when you're not playing and kind of call him out for not being available. Jimmy said, I feel at home, man. I really care about the city. I really care about the people in this city. Miami has embraced me. They've wanted me to bring them something they haven't done since LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. I want to do that. So as soon as I get this knee back right, I'm back on their ass, and everybody knows it. And I love the confidence from Jimmy. That's the one thing that I've always admired about him. Other than the fact that he's been dominant for Miami in the postseason, he has been terrific at leading this franchise, being the leader of Heat culture, and inspiring his teammates with confidence just because of how confident he is in himself. So Jimmy's not going anywhere. So then let's revisit what considers a big move. If Jimmy's off the list, and that's not going to happen, then it has to be one of these two. But I actually think they coincide with themselves, right? And you could combine these two because if you're trading for a star, you'd imagine that Tyler Herro would be in that trade package. I can't really think of any possible scenario where the Heat acquire a third star to pair up with Jimmy and Bam, and Tyler Herro isn't involved in that deal. But even if they don't trade him for a star like Donovan Mitchell or an all-NBA caliber player, I still don't believe Tyler Herro can be on this roster next year. And it's no hate to Tyler because I've told this story quite a bit, and I'm going to continue to tell it. When he got drafted in the first round in the lottery, I jumped up after playing euchre with my friends back in Rochester, New York, and ran around my house. That's how excited I was that we got Tyler. I've been one of his biggest supporters. But I could also see the writing on the wall that he can never be the third member of a championship team if he's the third best player. He's done a lot of nice things in the regular season. And the issue that I have with Tyler is not what he does in the regular season. A lot of my issues stem from his lack of being available during the regular season. As you see, only playing above 65 games twice in the last 4 seasons. Like, it just has not been consistent for Tyler. But he's one of the best shooters, and I'd consider him a very good volume scorer. And you remember in 21-22, when he played 66 games and averaged 20.7 points off the bench, he won Sixth Man of the Year. But the main issue I have, outside of him not being available, is his, I guess, lack of availability in the postseason and accountability, because you cannot trust this man to provide you with the productivity you need in the biggest moments. We talk a lot about players being a 16-game guy. I don't see Tyler Herro right now as a 16-game guy. And over his 4 postseason appearances, he just hasn't been good, man. Like, he was good in his rookie year. When he was in the bubble, he was hooping. He was the second, third, fourth best player on that team with him, Goran, and Bam alongside Jimmy, playing efficient scoring basketball. Never forget the 37 points he dropped in Game 4 against the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. But then he was horrific against the Bucks in the following year in that sweep. Then, even when the Heat made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost in 7 games to Boston, the Sixth Man of the Year he had, he was awful. Shot 23% from 3. Averaged 12.5 points per game. It was abysmal. And then this past postseason against the Celtics. No, I did not expect him and Bam to really realistically go out and win that series. I just didn't. But you would have at least liked to see him go out and put up a good performance. Like, we're seeing Donovan Mitchell put up good numbers against that vaunted Celtics defense. Tyler gave you nothing that you could hang your hat on and look towards the future and say, yeah, this guy can be a top 3 guy on a playoff team. He just can't. He had the one good game and the other 3 were horrible. So it's not that Tyler Herro can't do good things for the Heat in the regular season. It's just that he's not available when he needs to be, and he's not that consistent in the postseason. So let me ask you, will Tyler Herro be traded this offseason? Will it be for a star? Will it be for picks and role players or just to free up money? What do you guys think? Do you think he's going to get traded? Type T if you believe he will. If you think he's getting kept, type those Ks down below. Want to know what you guys have to say. And we mentioned Donovan Mitchell, right? And I wanted to showcase what his numbers are in the postseason as a member of the Jazz and the Cavaliers, because he has shown the ability to be elite in the playoffs. His rookie year, he averaged 24 points a game for the Jazz, and he only got stronger. Sure, the three-point efficiency has been up and down for Donovan Mitchell, but in the bubble, 36 points a game in that first-round series against the Nuggets, and then coming back the following year and putting up 32.3 points per game through 2 series of the postseason, and then obviously what he did this past series against the Orlando Magic. Like, Mitchell is a bona fide scorer. He can score on all 3 levels, and he is what Miami has been searching for and what they need for a third guy alongside Jimmy and Bam. I mean, he has just been terrific in his postseason career. He's an athletic freak who can get to the rim, get his shot off from anywhere. And Donovan Mitchell's the guy that I think Miami really needs to go after this offseason because I expect him to be available. But I also will say this for Pat Riley. It can't be Donovan Mitchell or bust. D-Mitch is clearly the dream for the Miami Heat. But if they strike out like they did with Damian Lillard last offseason, it can't be like, well, shit, I guess we'll run it back. We like our team. If I see Barry Jackson tweet about them liking their team in September or August or July, I'm going to freak out. No offense to you, Barry. I know you do a good job and you just do your job. But if I see that tweet if they like their team, I'm losing it. Because they have to have a backup plan if they don't get Donovan Mitchell, if they have D-Mitch at the number 1 priority on their board. And the question that I'm going to come back to is, are you serious about winning with Jimmy Butler? If you're serious about winning with Jimmy, then you have to acquire someone else. And we talked about even them not wanting to make a lateral move. And I get it. You don't want to trade your young core just get marginally better. You'd want to trade your young core to get significantly better. But at some point, the current core of the Miami Heat, it erodes. They are together too often. They have went to war so often and came up short in the finals, because that is the expectation here in Miami, too many times to where I think they might be sick and tired of playing with each other. So even though these 4 guys that you have been seeing rotating on your screen are not superstars, they're very good all-star level players, but they're not superstars. They would at least bring new life and new energy into this locker room to pair up with Jimmy and Bam. These guys that you see could be a third co-star. Now, I'm not going to sit here and rank them for you right now. That's a different video. But if you are serious about answering this question and winning an NBA title with Jimmy Butler on the roster, because he's given you everything over the past 5 seasons, then you have to make a change. Even if it is a lateral move that makes you marginally better, you have to change up the vibes in the locker room, because this current core as constructed will not get the job done. As hard as it is to admit it, it's the facts. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Appreciate you guys watching throughout the entire show. Make sure you are subscribed, because if you made it this far in the video, we're obviously doing something right. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We're covering you on a daily basis. I'm Nic Rohloff. It will always be Go Heat. I'll see you on the next one.